When you live in the end result properly, your manifestation is practically inevitable. In fact, when you are living in the end result, it feels like your manifestation is coming no matter what. Even if it doesn't end up coming in that exact moment, it will feel like it is something you already possess, something that is already guaranteed, and by default, it will end up finding its way to you. So this can work for anything, any type of manifestation. If you are trying to improve an existing love relationship, maybe you are trying to attract a brand new one. Maybe you are displeased with your job and would like a better position. Maybe you want to be your own boss. Maybe you just want more money to have a more leisurely life. Whatever your dreams are, whatever your desires are, they were placed in your heart for a reason, and there is a way to manifest them. And the fastest route to get there is to live in the end result. But living in the end result may not be something that you would guess it would be. It's often misunderstood, and it's often thought of on the surface level as opposed to what it is actually on the deeper level. And again, when you can properly do this, your manifestation feels inevitable, no matter what it is, no matter how hard of a problem it is. There is a solution to whatever you are experiencing right now in your life that is displeasing you. There is a way to attract a miracle. And it is through living in the end result. So I'm going to start by telling you what living in the end result is not. It may be something that you are already doing right now. You may be doing it wrong. And if you are, that's okay. Don't feel silly. Don't feel foolish. Don't feel like you did something wrong. Just tweak it, change it right now. And that will be enough to break through. So living in the end result is not pretending that you have your desire. I'll give an example. Some people misunderstand that living in the end result means that you are doing everything that implies that you have your desire now, everything physically. So for example, if you were trying to manifest a love relationship with a particular person, you would not go out on a date with someone else, or you would stay at home waiting until this particular person came your way. Now, the reason why that is not living in the end result, even though on the surface you may think that it sounds like, well, if I'm manifesting this particular person, then living in the end result would mean I would reject a date from someone else. The problem with this scenario is that living in the end result is a feeling. It's not a physical action that you take. It's a feeling. If you were living in the end result, you would feel happy, abundant, calm, at peace, like you had everything you could ever ask for or want. You would feel so satisfied, so relieved, so just joyous, like everything would feel good. So, for example, in the scenario of waiting around on a particular person and living in the end result being that you would reject a date from someone else, that wouldn't be living in the end result, because it would be rejecting happiness. It would be rejecting a nice time with someone else. It would be placing yourself sitting home alone, waiting on one person. And that doesn't feel very good. You can kid yourself and say, well, I would do it in an abundant way, confident in my knowing that this person would show up. But it would be shorting your self-happiness. It would not be living in the end result. So living in the end result is all about the way you feel. It has nothing to do with your physical actions. Another example would be if you were living in the end result of being a multimillionaire. You wouldn't physically max out your credit cards or spend money like a millionaire right now before you actually had it. That wouldn't be living in the end result. That would create a huge sense of lack, a huge sense of stress, because you would suddenly have all of this credit card debt that you couldn't actually physically pay for right now. So that would not be living in the end result. Living in the end result is a feeling. It is a feeling of having everything that you could possibly want right now. Living in the end result is about the ultimate sense of peace. So if you are trying to manifest fast and manifest properly, and you want to live in the end result, you need to do as many types of activities possible that cause you to feel relaxed, satiated, at peace. All of these things are in harmony with the end result. The end result is a feeling. It's not a physical activity. And that is the way to do it properly. And once you can understand that manifestation stems from feelings, you can more so understand that the type of technique you do is not nearly as important as the way it makes you feel. And that's why different techniques work for different people. But living in the end result is about feeling calm. It isn't even necessarily about feeling joyous or elated or excited. Yes, you would feel all of these things in the end result, but they would be fleeting. They wouldn't be for the totality of your time. Most of your time would be spent feeling relaxed, relieved, at ease, safe. So if you want to live in the end result, all you need to do is do activities that imply these feelings, that bring you these feelings. So the interesting thing is that living in the end result wouldn't necessarily mean doing something related to your desire. Whether your desire is money, love, a certain experience, a certain object, maybe you want a particular car. Like, none of these things imply play acting with that particular thing. If you are trying to manifest the love of your life, you're not going to be making 2 meals at nighttime, implying that you aren't actually alone, even though you really are. Because if you make 2 meals and that person isn't physically there to eat it, you're going to end up feeling lack. You're going to end up feeling silly, foolish. You'll feel uncomfortable. And again, those are none of the feelings that imply the end result. And this is the same reason why I never say to make room in your closet. Use your whole closet. Don't clear a space for it and then see that empty space. That's going to give you a constant reminder that this person isn't here yet. It's going to give you a constant reminder of lack. You want to generate as many feelings of satiation, of relaxation, of relief as you possibly can. That is living in the end result. Now, you may have heard living in the end result can also be about envisioning an actual scene that implies the end, that implies you have your desire. And while this can be good, it's important to remember that this isn't actually the end, but rather a beginning. So I always say to imagine and to envision anything related to your desire. Because again, we're feeding it fuel. We're feeding it the proper nourishment that it needs to actually manifest and to actually unfold in your life. So living in the end result isn't necessarily picking out an imaginary scene and you only repeat that imagination in your mind. I think that this feels very limiting. It feels very strict, and it almost boxes you in. The whole point of manifesting is to create expansion in your mind, expansion in your heart, expansion in your soul. So living in the end result is allowing yourself full access to any experience. So you may have thought that an end result scene in terms of having a lot of money would be receiving $1 million. But if you want to be someone who is wealthy and who has a luxury lifestyle, you're going to need a lot more than just one lump sum of $1 million. Like, that doesn't imply a lifetime full of abundance. It just implies that you received $1 million on one occasion. Like, that doesn't imply the joy of spending the money and the joy of having the things that this money could buy, the joy of having more money. So we want to create expansion in terms of what living in the end result means. And we want to get past these things on the surface level. If you've been doing any of these things, it's not that you've been doing it wrong, but if you haven't manifested yet, you want to create more expansion. Expansion means that you connect more of the feelings of relief. The feelings of relief usually have nothing to do with imagining your desire. In fact, sometimes it's hard to feel that relief while simultaneously thinking of your desire. You can put your desire aside. That isn't giving up. That isn't quitting. That isn't refraining from persisting in the end result. Like, it's none of those things. It's allowing yourself the relief to not feel so pressured to have to manifest in that moment. We always manifest when we've sort of set it aside, not thinking about it, not so hyper-focused on it. Again, living in the end, you are relieved. You have your desire, so you feel abundant, you feel relaxed, you feel at one with life. Like, that's what's going to sink you to your desire. That's what's going to make you a magnetic match to it. That's what's going to cause you to vibrate in a way where it just finds you, because you know it's yours, because you feel so relaxed that it's turned into a preference, not something that you are in dire need of. And that's what living in the end result is. It's about satisfaction. It's about worthiness. It's about just allowing yourself to be abundant now and full of gratitude now. Living in the end result is allowing yourself the freedom to breathe a huge sigh of relief. Like, don't breathe that relief once you have your desire. You want to become a magnetic match to it. And it will rush and find you when you can properly live in the end. And that is embodying as many of these emotions as possible. Emotions is what manifests. It's not the technique, it's not the visualization, it's not picking a particular scene and including all of your senses. I think we do these things to generate emotions. We don't do these things because these are the things that in and of themselves work. They work because they generate emotions. Living in the end result is about generating emotions. The emotions of the end would be total and complete peace. Now, I don't want to scare you off and make you think that you have to be completely clear and clean of all negativity in order to manifest. That's not what it's about at all. We are human beings. We have so many different complex emotions. But at your core, you allow yourself to feel as much peace as possible, not 100%. Manifesting is not about being 100% of anything. It's about having a dominant feeling. And living in the end result is about feeling as much peace as possible, because the end result is peace. It's abundance. It's satisfaction. Again, this is why people who have never heard of manifesting, they've never heard of the law of attraction, they've never heard of the end result, the end state, they've never heard of these things, and they manifest things on command. And that's because they identify something they want, and they feel it possible. They feel that openness and that expansion, that ability to connect more with having it than the obstacles standing in their way. Everything has an obstacle. So obstacles mean nothing. Everything has obstacles. Obstacles are subjective. One person's big obstacle is another person's no big deal. So it's all a matter of perception. It's all in a matter of assumption. It's all in a matter of what you think you choose to focus on as a problem. Everything has an obstacle. So don't say to yourself you can only manifest things that have no obstacles. Because again, those things Like you wouldn't want them if it wasn't challenging. You would have it already, and then it would lose its luster, it would lose its magic. If you want to properly live in the end, dive beneath the surface. Dig deeper than just creating an end scene in your mind. Dig deeper than play acting in your house by cooking another meal. Dig deeper than these physical things and look at what they're implying. The reason why people created techniques like this was because it made them feel a certain way. The problem is that a lot of these things end up backfiring for people because they're not really getting to the core of why we do these things. So it's fine to develop techniques of your own that generate certain feelings, but I would gravitate towards those feelings of relaxation, those feelings of satiation, those feelings of having everything now. And connecting with those feelings isn't going to imply that you are over your desire, that you no longer need it, that you no longer want it. Like, it's not going to imply any of those things. It's not going to cause you to no longer have what it is you are seeking. It's the very opposite. It's going to cause what you are seeking to find you faster than you can possibly imagine. And I talk from personal experience. I am sure you've heard other people saying you have to persist, you have to persist, you have to persist until it becomes yours. Persisting in a feeling of peace and relaxation is the only thing you want to persist in. Making yourself imagine a particular thing daily and affirm these things all the time is only going to make you feel crazy inside and make you feel very unbalanced and unsettled, and it will not imply the end result. The end result is peace, which means that you can not say a single affirmation, not do a single visualization from this point on, and you would actually get your desire faster than the people that are affirming and visualizing in a ritualistic fashion. They're not implying the end result. All right, I hope that this pep talk helped. I'm Veronica. I would love to coach you. DreamLifeByVeronica.com. I have one-on-one coaching. I also have independent self-study programs that I know will change your life for the better. Please leave me a comment below. I love it when you leave your success story. I love it when you help one another. And I love to answer your questions. I try to answer as many as I possibly can. Check out my new self-love course, which I am so proud of. It involves self-concept, which is the very thing which will cause you to manifest all of your wildest dreams. Subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean the world to me if you would help support my content. Have an amazing day. May all of your dreams come true.